Kathleen, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I can't even imagine going through an earthquake any time of day, let alone 4 o'clock in the morning. Um, that is like one of my greatest fears as far as natural disasters is concerned, is going through an earthquake. I am very encouraged by your initial response to the trauma and just really pulling together with your community. I think that's amazing that untrained people can pull together and meet each other's immediate needs. It just really talks to humanity and our desire to persevere in our interconnectedness that God has given us. How we are interdependent on one another and how we work better when we do embrace that reliance on one another as a community. Um, as I was reading through your disaster and thinking of the support that you may or may not have gotten, I know you talked about how your community did band together. Um, but I was reading in the National Child Traumatic Stress Network, and the SPR was talking about having, once those immediate needs are met, having your other needs met, your secondary needs met. And I was wondering if that was something that you did receive or your community did receive, and if so, how did that come about? Like, did an agency come to the lawns where you guys were sitting, or were you guys transported somewhere to receive that additional support, to help you cope with the situation and even help you cope with navigating through now experiencing, you know, not having safety for your children, for your child, and for yourself, and whether physical or mental safety. So I was just curious as to how that played a part in your traumatic event. One of the other things that it states in the SPR is that it is best to receive this um, assistance sooner than later, and that the tools that SPR workers provide to to clients with crises helps them to navigate and to mentally cope with moving forward and even dealing with some of the immediate situations that arise. I imagine that as a result of an earthquake, there were a lot of other things that came about, perhaps like your child not being able to go to school, or um, them having a traumatic experience. How were you able to help your child or your spouse even go through that, or loss of job or income because I don't know how much of the area was affected. So these are all things I'm very curious about, but I also find it interesting that through SPR services, we can help one another to not give way to fear, to move past the fear, and to utilize the strengths and the tools that we already have to propel us in a positive direction. Thank you again so much for sharing your story, and you have a blessed day.